Welcome home, family and fellow citizens of the African Order. I'm here with another video, and it is with a heavy heart that I do this video with the recent passing of Chadwick Boseman, our Black Panther. I wish he was still here with us. I remember when the movie came out, I knew I had to see it, not just because it was the first Black Avengers movie, but the description of Peter Luongo was so compelling. It described during the time, during the interview, she said it was described that Wakanda was a part of Africa not to be colonized by Europeans. And just think about that. 500 years of uninterrupted progress for our people. 500 years of being self-governed. 500 years of ownership and control over our way of life. 500 years of self-determination. 500 years of our stories being told by our elders and our history of our ancestors. 500 years of pure black on black love and the fruit that sprung from that love. When you think about that, the continuous uninterrupted progress of our people, this is how you can have the king of Wakanda, as he did in the movie, walk amongst the people without causing a stir. They're used to seeing their own in power. Wakanda was a mix of advanced technology and a blend of old ways within arm's reach of each other. Yet there was no jealousy or bitterness. People lived in peace and harmony. And Chadwick Boseman, he, along with the others, played their characters beautifully. When I look at the world today and the so-called leadership of this country and the clown we have sitting as president, I find myself wishing again that Wakanda was real. Living among my people, undisturbed by outside influences, as we were meant to. Living a lifestyle at our own pace, which we would have been in direct opposite of the way we live now. We should be living our lives in slow motion and not missing a thing, but we allow these barbarians to come and conquer our land. And today we live at a pace so fast, we forget what day it is. We could be living today as if it is today. Now, we're living today as if it's still 1800. We still got white people right now stopping you on the street, any of them, checking for your papers, making sure you belong in this particular area, making sure you know who you are, what you're doing in this area. This ain't no longer no 1800. It's 2020. But as I've said in a few other my previous videos, the mentality of white people do not go too much further beyond 1800. But the reason why we still like this is because for all the years that were interrupted by colonialism, we never tried to recapture our way of life prior to the invasion. No wonder we are a lost people For the last 500 years, we have been governed by our conquerors. 500 years ownership and control over our lives has been in the hands of our oppressors. 500 years seeking allowances from the most brutal race of like humans on the planet. 500 years of our stories being twisted and manipulated by terrorists. 500 years of dysfunction and distrust. 500 years of blacks having been sodomized, raped by whites. 500 years of black wombs giving birth to white babies. Wakanda may not be real, but we better find a way to try to make it real. I was listening to this show and the host asked, what do reparations look like? I shouted out, Wakanda. Our people living as if slavery never happened is what it looks like. Whether it be good or bad, it will be as we decide and no one else. Chadwick Boseman, why did you leave us now? And look at the clown show we got going on now. You know, I gave Donald a pass when he was caught on audio saying I can grab girls by the... I call it locker room talk from a person steeped with money and power, having women throwing themselves at him so frequently. He may not have actually done that, but I feel he felt he could do it. Now, when it comes to this bozo saying servicemen are stupid and suckers, oh yeah, I believe wholeheartedly he said that. And I do not care how strong his denial is. And for those of you who think I'm judging him unfairly, let his history speak for him. Here is Donald Trump's record around a possibility if he could have said this. Fact, he campaigned calling John McCain a loser and said, I don't like him because he was captured. Fact, when John McCain died, Donald was so upset because of the attention that he got, he did not want to lower the flags to half-mast. Fact, Donald was supposed to give a speech and wanted the name of a battleship covered up simply because it bore the identical name of John McCain's grandfather, who he was named after. And the Navy put a tarp over it. Fact, even when he tried to show some kind of compassion, calling the fallen soldier David Johnson's wife, Maisha Johnson, Donald made her cry saying he knew what he signed up for. And the way she described it in a very cold tone, never mentioned her husband's name because she felt or she thought that he couldn't even remember it. Fact, you did not visit the Marines' graves in Bella Paris Cemetery because it was raining. Yet General John Kelly, your chief of staff, went in your place. So Donald, even though I am in no position to know whether or not you said it, with your history, you cannot convince me that you did not say it. If this were Wakanda, do you think T'Challa would have handled this situation with the delicacy it deserved? Do you think both elected officials and family members would turn down the opportunity to have T'Challa come to their state or their home to speak on behalf of a soldier who fell in service of Wakanda? We have governors and family members begging Donald not to come just because his presence alone will make an already volatile situation worse than it already is. When you have a president of the United States unable to denounce white extremist groups, unable to discern between white nationalists and whites protesting. You have a problem. When you have a president, a white president, unable to call white school shooters terrorists, but instead refer to them as people with mental illness, you have a big problem. Having a white president continuously coming to the defense of white cops who repeatedly kill unarmed blacks, and not only not speaking their name, you pass legislation that does nothing to prevent the onslaught. After George Floyd was killed, Donald passed a law banning chokeholds unless the cop felt his life was in danger. But they all think that. But when Breonna Taylor's boyfriend shot through a closed door as the police were executing a no-knock warrant, they arrested him for firing a gun at who he honestly thought were robbers. They didn't have to announce themselves. He didn't know who they were. But because we were taken off of our original path, robbed of our full potential and rightful place on this earth 500 years ago by the most despicable race of lichens on the planet, and then suddenly given freedom, still depending completely on our oppressors. Today, we find ourselves still dependent on everyone except our own, with no real significant effort to liberate ourselves. We are still just as vulnerable to these lichens as we were 200 years ago. If this is not enough proof for us to unite and try to recapture what was ours, what will? Let me conclude with this. Right now, we are suffering through a global pandemic with no type of leadership to navigate us through it. 6 months with meandering messaging: wear a mask, do not wear a mask, and no timetable when it will end or to safely open businesses. We have governors telling bars to not to open, so there's no socializing, while at the same time allowing casinos to open and sell liquor, closing movie theaters but opening up barbershops, canceling political functions, but you want to open schools. As if that is not enough, we have an openly racist president who only relates to his supporters. When Donald blatantly equated the Wisconsin shooting of Jacob Blake being shot 7 times in the back, paralyzed from the waist down, to a golfer choking on a 3-foot putt on a golf course, I was done. This discontinuation of the treatment slaves received during slavery and the inability for whites to view blacks not as equals, but simply human. Even when he was asked to redefine his analogy, Donald doubled down on it. Yet he can equate ending low housing to lowering crime and property value going up. Donald then characterized so-called thugs on the plane simply because they were wearing black. Having the inability or willingness to treat those less fortunate as equal or human, this should be the new definition of racism. We see Donald do this repeatedly, yet he still has millions of followers who support him. Now there are black leaders clamoring to get Donald out of office by voting for Joe Biden on November 3rd. I'm not just concerned about getting this clown out of office. I'm more concerned about what this idiot will leave behind once he gets out of office. We have black leaders saying, vote for the lesser of two evils, Joe Biden. He's better than Trump. Voting for the lesser of two evils is always going to be our option if we continue to vote for devils. We have got to not just vote for our agenda first, we must vote our people in also. This is the only way we can initiate change and assure it by voting our agenda first, then vote for the person that will fulfill this agenda, and they be accountable solely to us. Wakanda was a movie on a screen, and it was a beautiful depiction of what blacks working together as a team looks like. What do reparations look like to our people? It will look just like it did in Wakanda. Us working together as one. Something we have never seen in our life. Reparations will look like we having group success as opposed to individual success. Reconnecting with our people. Not only should we do this for ourselves, but we have got to do this for our children. It is our duty to make a better way of life, not just for us, but for our children. They shouldn't have to struggle with the same thing we're struggling with today. When I think about Chadwick Boseman untimely demise, and I just knew he was going to achieve so much more in life. I'm going to dedicate this video not only to him, but to his memory, and to keep not only the memory of Chadwick Boseman alive, but keep the vision of what Wakanda looked like alive as well. And we can put that in reality as we come together as a people. We vote our agenda, then we vote for the person to fulfill this agenda, and then we can honestly go out, see, and touch our achievement, and that will inspire us to do more and more. So with that being said, I'm going to conclude this video. And with this video, with all my videos, it is for the complete liberation of my people. And again, it is with a heavy heart that I do this, because I love Chadwick Boseman. Even though he didn't have a lot of movie credits, the man's acting, his character was phenomenal. My love for him is still present. I wish his family well. And we have got to do this, not just for him, but for ourselves. And as I conclude, I will conclude by saying, Wakanda forever. I hope you like this message, and I'll see you in my next video. Ashe.